Hello, good evening, welcome to Bars and Bells. My name is Lauren.
And I'm Ian.
And this is our Strength and Swings class. We have been progressing throughout the entire year, so we have lots of videos if you need to go back and check on those progressions.
Those basics.
But what we've been working on in this semester, which is week 2, is the snatch. So join us today, let's get prepared. Before we snatch, okay, good. Must get prepared first, body weight, and then we'll get into those snatches in a little bit. So off to the side, we have our kettlebells. Start with the warm-up and get to those in a second.
Those barehanded warm-ups with those basics. So stand in any position comfortable for you with the palms facing forward. Low effort, keep your eyes on the horizon, but do your extension of the neck, meaning looking up, but only with your nose. Keep looking straight ahead. Then look straight ahead and do your flexion of the neck. That's the chin approaching the collarbone. Then repeat one more time, extension, keep looking on the horizon. And then one more time, our chin tucked down, and then back to level. Then an ear to a shoulder, take a breath in, and then easy does it. The nose stays in about the same place as you go ear bend to the other shoulder. I guess your ears don't bend, but the neck does, and it goes ear to shoulder again. And then one last time. It doesn't need to be a big range. Look to get where you go and come back home. We'll do a rotation in a second. Let's just take that same theme of bending through the rib cage. So first, we went forward, that little flexion forward, and keep your shoulder blades together. Then pull down, start to engage that shield as you look to extend or pull up. Repeat once more with the shoulder blades in tight. You might do a little chin tuck. Looking down at the floor could be appropriate. And find your shield, those abs, as you pull down to lift up. Then again, with those hands across the body, we'll do our lateral flex. Like between two panes of glass, easy does it. Tall in the middle. Side bend to the one side and then the other. As we go here, the ribs and the hips are staying stacked as to avoid falling off of your base of support. Then return to center. Let's just assemble the rotation with the head and then the torso, and we might just do the same thing from the ground as you progress our warm-up. So at the head neck, do a chin tuck and look in a certain direction. I chose my right. Then my hips stay square and my shoulders turn to catch up with the rotation of the neck. Then keep the body there and rotate your head to center. Let the body follow. Then with a chin tuck, casually look over to the other direction, in my case the left. Then turn the torso or the rib cage in the same direction. Then head center, body center. We'll do a couple more of those from a lunge in a moment, I think. One more thing from me from standing before we get right back to it with Lauren. It's those shoulders. It's that overhead snatch movement, so be careful and always check in with the body weight shoulders first. Start with your fingers pointing to the floor and make a fist. Imagine gripping a kettlebell. Then bend the wrist so the knuckles face forward. After that, we'll do our biceps curl and just take a look. Are the fingers or the knuckles pointing straight up to the ceiling? If they aren't, tauten that rope and pull the hands apart. Now shrug, but just once. This is our kettlebell practice, so those shoulder blades will be placed low and have your elbow tips aimed towards forward. Then reset the elbows to the ribs, point your fingers to the back wall, open or extend on the wrist next, followed by the extension on the elbow. Now lightly pull the shoulder blades together and engage that shield like you could take a punch and reach behind you as if to get the hands to touch. Then make a fist. Then bend on the wrist and bend on the elbow. For something just a little bit different this time, go all the way towards your safe overhead. Find that groove, finish with those palms facing forward, and as Lauren's showing, ideally the elbows are in line with the ears. Only for once more this practice, let's shrug those shoulders, but pull those shoulder blades down. That's how we want to catch that kettlebell in our snatch. And we'll press a little bit here today too, so just pull back down, that chin up or press groove, and then open the wrists, extend on the elbows, shake, wiggle, and toss it back to Lauren.
Excellent. One of the staples of our kettlebell practice is the get up. And in a get up, we do some lunges. So let's warm that lunge up. Before we get to our lunge, let's warm the toes. Those are a very important piece to the puzzle. Gently bending, knee forward, ankle in line, ball of foot on the floor. Push some weight straight down into that foot. Feel it energize up through that quad and into the cheek. Now use your toes to point. Gently flex and round over the toes. Then come back to the tips of the toes, the ball of the foot or that lunge foot. Heel comes down, hip pushes forward. Repeat on the other side. Pull the other foot up. Bend into that lunge foot. Then use the toes to point. Lightly flex around over those toes. Push into the floor to get to the toe tip. The demi point, that lunge foot, push some weight down, prepare, especially that big toe sometimes. And then gently push the heel down, extending the hip. Instead of coming down via our lunge today, let's come down via our toe squat. So with that, we'll send our knees towards over our toes. Then we'll gently press our hips through to tall. Let's do that again. Knees towards over toes. This time sinking a little lower, allowing your heels to peel off. Next, a soft landing on the knees, a hip extension through. And then let's point our feet out the back and just lightly sit down on that. We'll extend the hips again. This time we'll tuck a toe out the back and bring one leg in front in our kneeling lunge position. In that lunge, our front shin is vertical. And what we're thinking is that, so with the front shin vertical, that femur is pulled into the socket as that back hip drives forward. Feel the scissor action pulling together right now, extending your back hip. Keep that pull, get to the pointed foot. And then could you even do a point toe and then back down? And a point toe and then back down. Feel the pull so much you drift knee towards over toe for one, keeping your back hip extended and ribs over top of hips. And then push into the floor, send yourself to tall. Heel toe that leg open to the side. Knee is at the side, hips are level. Check it out. Maybe it's hiked, pull it down. From that level position, again, pull the floor in without moving. Try to feel those adductors and then gently drift once, knee towards over toe. Push yourself back to tall, keeping the hip extended. Take the same arm of the side leg, bring it across your chest. Here's those rotations back again. Head rotates, upper body rotates to that side leg. Use your hinge, pushing your hips back so your hand can find the floor, and stack right over top. Keeping the leg to the side, the head will look at the hand on the floor, and then the upper body will gently close. Where are your shoulder blades? Are they lightly pulled together, or are you round and hunkered forward? Option 1 for now. Head rotates open, body rotates open, floor presses away. Head and shoulders return to center. Heel toe that leg to the front. Bring it underneath and we'll repeat on the other side. Keeping that back toe tucked in that lunge position is ideal. Front shin vertical. Leg pulls in, back hip pushes forward. Feel that scissor action as you gently drift knee towards over toe, keeping your back hip extended. Staying on top of your hips with your shoulders. Press yourself back. Heel toe that leg open to the side position. Oh, wait, come back. We missed something.
The toe tip
Get to that demi point first, and then try to point your toe, and demi point, and point your toe, and then back through the foot. Now we'll heel toe open. Okay, let's again pull that leg in, push the back hip forward, keep the pull as you drift. Again, you're staying stacked on top, push into the floor to send yourself all the way through to tall. Next, same arm as side leg across chest. Blades together, head rotates, body rotates. Chop on those hips, pushing them towards the back wall as the hand finds the floor. It's made for a softer landing. Head looks at hand on the floor, rib cage rotates. Breathes. Keep the knee to the side. Head opens, shoulders open. Hand pushes away, head and shoulders to center. Square the foot up. Let's put that leg back underneath and stand up via that toe squat. Toes point out the back, sit down for a second. Woo. Then press the hips forward. Tuck the toes. With or without your hands, watching your surroundings, rock back. Let's stay on the balls of our feet as we press up. And then control the down with nice straight knees, cheeks squeezed. Boom. Boom. Give that a little shake out.
Great. Let's integrate our kettlebell into the mix here. So I have 2 kettlebells here, a heavier one and a lighter one, and I'll be using my lighter one first. Get used to the load, the grips, and the core as we explore the grip holds here. We'll start low and work our way towards the rack. We use that hinge, and you could use 2 hands if you are new to this practice, but I like that single arm lift. The preload means toes heavy and pack your shoulder. Feel the core tension build and carry the load out to the side. Stay stationary or cramp one glute so firm and lift the other knee. Return it, cramp it, stiffen that leg and pull the other. It's probably harder when we lift that leg that's closest to the kettlebell, like that one for me. Return to the hinge stance, 2 hands shadowing to the floor, shaking a reset, always checking in, repeating on the other side. So it's our hip hinge, firm grip, stiff elbow, and lift with the hips. Assemble your stance as you wish and stay in firm on 2 feet, or just like Lauren, drive. Press down. I think that layup drill in basketball, we'd crush into the floor and pull up the other knee for power. Maybe one more of each.
Really good at those.
Lauren is an exceptional basketball player. And then hinge and return and come up.
I have the body type.
One more thing for me, a little bit of a body weight squat here, and then back to Lauren for another kettlebell grip. Open up to your favorite squats position and pull yourself down. Stay upright, aiming to get your hips lower than those knees, and then press those hips all the way through. Repeat just one more time. Feel that pull tension. No free fall here. And maybe again, just like Lauren, that was great though. Little hangout here. She did it before. I wanted to copy and push the hips through and shake. Second grip hold, Lauren, take it away.
All right, to that rack position. Standing over top of your bell, we'll use 2 hands to get it there right now. Hip hinge, 1 hand grips, 2nd hand cuddles. Pack your shoulders, zip up your jacket, punch through that bell. Keeping the forearm nice and vertical. This is your press position. Next, if you'd like, you could add that march, or you could stay heavy on 2 feet. Making sure here our core is braced, ribs over top of hips, and that bell is resting on the forearm. Step your feet, keep it tight to the body, soft landing, park. Give a little shake, same thing other side. Hinge, grip, cuddle, zip. Next, with that bell, sorry, it hit something that hurts right now. Driving that knee towards the chest as you alternate sides there. Again, it's staying on the forearm versus resting on the bicep. Last one, then step, use your hinge, place the bell down, up without. Give that a little shake.
Add the shake. Continuing our hips here, let's just review a really quick single leg deadlift hinge to continue to fire up those hips. So stand in where you might for that kettlebell swing coming up and push the hips back. Transfer your weight to one side and point that other leg out from the side all the way around to the back. Hang out for a couple seconds, verticalize, made up words, but full straightness on that bottom leg, and then boom, push those hips through.
Verticalize the shin.
Verticalize the shin, that's right. So hip hinge, the hips are staying higher than those knees. We'll shift weight the other side, we'll point the leg out the back, hang out, and again, pull that femur head into the hip, a lot like that scissor cue in the lunge, and push the hip through. Fire up those hips. Hopefully it's the polite type of fire here. And
one more press.
One more.
Or one more hold. We're going to press the bell. You could use a push press or you could use a regular press. And we're going to hold that bell in overhead position. Let's talk about it once we get there. If you don't feel comfortable overhead, holding in that rack or the goblet, and then maybe second thinking about your snatches here. Make sure you're comfortable with your bell overhead through a press first. So once in this overhead position, let's hold it. This is the top of our snatch. Right here, our shoulder is set so we can see our ear, but it's in line with our bicep. We have that nice, strong position. Our elbow's locked out and our wrist is nice and straight. Right now, it's kind of easy holding the bell, or should be fairly easy. It's still weight because we're stacked wrist on top of elbow, on top of shoulder, on top of core, on top of strong butt cheeks. Next, let's adjust our stance as needed. Pull the bell down with control. 2 hands, park that bell. So ultimately, that is where the snatch ends up. So let's get comfortable with it here, and then we'll progress that exercise. Drill. Second side, grip, rack, press, boom. Once it's overhead, do your checklist. Your wrist is nice and straight and strong. Avoid that bend. Elbow straight, bicep ear, shoulder set down, stacked, braced, squeezed, then adjust as needed. Pull the bell down with control. 2 hands and park. We have a few things to warm up before we fling that bell overhead with a purpose. So let's start by doing some get-ups.
The get-ups. This is where we'll both be transitioning to our heavier loads because the warm-up felt pretty good.
Pretty good.
We can manage those loads, and we're continuing to work on our strength with, in this case, these heavier loads. So there's sometimes rules on the downs and ups, but always rules in the middle. So get down any way you wish, and Lauren will take away the cueing of our first get up here.
All right, whether you have a kettlebell or you're doing this body weight, that's up to you, but we always start in the cuddle. Then we roll to our back and we press that bell. Next, we use our hip drive, pulling on your elbow. Find your hand, squishing the bud. We'll push into the floor to bridge our hips, sweeping underneath. That back toe is already tucked, and we're in our lunge position we warmed up. Pushing forward and back, standing up. Now we'll pull ourselves back down. Step, rotate, hinge. Make sure those shoulders are stacked as you sweep to the elbow. Press away from the elbow to your back. Pull your bell down. Return it to the cuddle position. Whew. Spin yourself around, butt over bell, not head.
You got it.
One's a little more cushy than the other.
We want to stay strong and safe. Cushy parts touching the bell, although that forearm space might not be so cushy, so always be careful with that on the bell as well. But we cuddle, we roll, and we full press. And we drive the hip. We tall sit. We bridge and sweep. Find your lunge stance as you square it up, and full body tension to stand. And then pull yourself down, open, hinge, sweep that leg into the tall sit, find the elbow, and stiff like a plank to the floor. 2 hands down, cuddle it, and the rules are just no hands on that up, unless you need a hand. But of course, it's Lauren. She doesn't need a hand, she's just to herself.
Fortunately.
So shake it out.
Oh, shake it out.
From there.
From there.
I'll be using this kettlebell now.
That kettlebell.
So I gotta take it on back in the almost perfect hinge. And we're working on our one arm swings here as we slowly integrate to our snatch. I'll be going 5 swings right and left, and then Lauren will do the same. Lauren wants this bell, but it's heavy enough.
I don't want that bell yet.
Okay.
I'm debating which bell I want.
There we go. So I'll be doing 5 on my right, followed by Lauren's 5 on the left. Listen to these cues, and it'll help us assemble that skill in the snatch.
All right, swings, the basis of our snatch here, 1 arms. Hand is gripped, shoulders packed, and we're swinging to that chest height. Every time we swing, that off arm is coming with us, and at the top,
stiff,
plank.
Like a plank. So again, sometimes that snatch or swing might be ending up in this position, or that shadow touching out front. Both are appropriate. Lauren and I love that off arm in that rack position.
All right, same thing, other side. As we hinge, or as we swing here, let's go through the checklist. All toes are heavy in the floor, gripping. Shins stay vertical, loading the hips, and keeping the core brace on the down of the bell as well as the up.
Lots to think about in these quick numbers of repetitions, but stay fresh, keep them strong, and the form from that first to that 5th repetition should stay the same. And we'll shake it out. And then Lauren needs a nice heavy one for her get up, so we'll return that over here. And we're going back to the floor for an up, down on right, and then left in our get up, and maybe we melt or twist and turn to the floor. So,
back to that get up.
Back to that get up.
We love these get ups because they just spend some time doing purposeful movement under a heavy load. It's the definition right there. Cuddle, roll, press, step by step here. Hip to elbow, hand, bridge, sweep. Press, front foot moves, up to tall. I'm gonna do something you're not supposed to do. Just adjust that bell. Step back lunge, front foot, rotate hinge, sweeping to the elbow, press away to your back, and control that down. So the bell on that get up there just wasn't sitting quite right. I should have adjusted it before I started my full get up, but I didn't.
Yeah, it's never wrong to adjust the bell. Make sure it feels just right.
As long as it's not in a precarious location.
Yeah, for sure. Not midway through or anything. But here we are. My turn to cue as we cuddle, roll, and press. Lauren, drive the hips. Let's do it. The tall sit is next. We bridge and sweep. Press the floor away. Square up that lunge. And full body stand. And down. It's controlled. Sometimes it straddles just a little out of control, but be patient, be slow. Return to the cuddle and no hands up. Switch your leg coordination if you can remember. That sometimes might be the hardest part of the practice as well.
Progressing from our single arm swings, we'll now integrate into our cleans. A clean is a swing that ends in the rack position. So setting up behind your bell as if you're going to do your swings, grip bell, pack shoulder through, up to that rack is practice in the warm-up. To the rack, good. Again, the off arm is coming with you, and it's the hip that drives the bell there. The hand just guides it. We have a fairly light grip as we punch through the kettlebell and keeping that core brace at the top.
5s comes around quick and gets those sweat taps going. And Lauren alluded to that firm grip, when that kettlebell is in the hike pass position out back, and a very light grip as it's punching through to end up into the rack position. We're stiff with core tension throughout, but an exceptional tension when that kettlebell is about to land in that rack position.
Remember a couple things here. Both hips drive through nice and straight. Avoid that 1-2 twist. And then as well, on that last one I caught myself, I kind of rocked back with that bell. So try to be strong like the tree as you catch the bell, nice and tight into that rack position.
Right. Tree trunks have roots, that's your toes. You want to dig those down in the ground. Kneecaps are pulled up straight with those quads, and those hips, those glutes, they extend. And the shield, Lauren's turtle shell on the front. That's a washboard sound or a turtle sound. Feel it. Feel strong. That's 2 sides. That's cleans and cleans. We got one more get up here, and then we'll go overhead in that snatch movement. So use that hinge where possible. Pick it up. March like a penguin. Put it down. Your bell, madam.
Thank you.
Here we are again. Our get up. Last time in our get up for right now. Cuddle it. Take a breath. Do you like that hand position? Get a firm grip. Roll and press. Drive the hip to the elbow. It's a tall sit next and a bridge to sweep. Then press the floor away. Square up. Full body stand tension and return, pulling or scissoring down. Open. Hinge. Sweep to tall sit and elbow, and then to your back. Cuddle it. Return it. One more time today.
So same thing on the other side. Oh, these get-ups, they may seem redundant, but that's the point. So enjoy the full movement. I think it's 12 steps. Here we go. Cuddle, roll, and press. Use that hip. It's not a crunch right there. As we sweep, get that knee right under where your hip is, and then pressing the floor away. Here's where we look forward. Ultimately, we're trying to look at the bell the whole time, except for when we're in that lunge position. As we rotate here, hinge to place your hand down softly. Add the sweep. Now again, it's not a crunch down. Press away from your elbow to come to the floor. Return the bell with control. Last time, no hands.
No hands.
But no rules.
Excellent.
Standing up.
Lauren, I think there are 12 steps there. It depends on if you count the cuddle roll press as a move and always that controlled dismount.
Press.
Just a little bit different.
All right.
For our last bit of the warm-up here, the kettlebell's been overhead. Let's just revisit that overhead position one more time.
Right.
So let's clean it to the rack, press it overhead, hang out there for 10 seconds, and pull it back down. The pull down will stay consistent today, but we will be getting a little bit more ballistic on the ways we get that kettlebell overhead.
Do you want to pull it down like we did last week? Free throw? Or save that?
Save that.
Okay.
Save that. Just normal groove press down.
Stay tuned. The excitement.
So 2 hands on, hike it, rack it, full body tension and press. Did you use a lighter bell now than you did in your get up? Maybe it feels really controlled and really strong. Firm in the grip, full body tension, straight elbows in line with the ear, then open your stance, pull it back down, and then return to the floor, reset. One last time, other side. Hip hinge, hike pass, pull to the rack. Full body tension as you press overhead. Check your feet. You're allowed to move them, just rather not moving during that press. Hold for a second or 2 longer, and with control, return to the rack. I love 2 hands on, and return to the ground. That bell is the bell for me to progress with our swings and snatches. Lauren, what about you?
Well, we're going to do a little interval of some single arm swings here today.
Time? Yeah, cool.
So let's get us, okay. All right, let's save that. We were supposed to do that, but let's save that and get into our snatches now, and then let's get under some bells for some single arm swings, finishing it up.
Yeah.
Just making sure we get into our snatches.
You're right.
So last week, what we did was we did this. We did a clean, a press, and then we free throwed the bell back down. So we did a light flick of the wrist, kept the bell tight to the body, elbows high, through and park. We're going to now, this time, work on the up, right? So our up here is going to be pulling the bell through as we would, but using so much hip power that the bell ends up in that overhead position. Today, we're still breaking it down, so it's going to come down through the pull down, through and park. In our snatch, just like our clean, we have a firm grip but a light grip. As you're doing this, let's do 3. So Ian will do 1 more and then I'll do 3. As you're doing this, if you found one of those really easy, that was your best snatch. Use the hips to get that bell there and really try to send it forward. That being said, you still want to stay in your alleyway. We don't want that big arc.
That's right.
We want to keep it tight to the body.
Lauren will be taming the arc of that kettlebell swing in the snatch. Pull it down the body to the rack and return it to the floor. Little stop version of our kettlebell snatch here. That's super quick. It doesn't make it easy, but it makes it efficient. Whew. As soon as Lauren's hips come through, that kettlebell has arrived overhead. I did 3 on one side, same with your team there, Lauren. Let's do 3 more on the other arm.
So as you pull back, preload those hips and then whammo. You're just guiding that bell up.
Oops, I forgot what I was doing.
You're just guiding that bell to the overhead position and bringing it down through the press or the reverse press. Pull it down, through and park. We'll keep this stopped for now, but we will not put it down in one more drill. So all the way through up, pull it down with control, through and park. As with our single arm swings, we're matching that exhale as the hips snap through. So that might vary from when your bell lands. Not might, it will.
Your bell ends up overhead, so maybe that's midnight. Aim to stop the power of the bell around 11 o'clock so momentum finally lets it rest, just like Lauren did there at midnight or vertical in regards to the floor. This is the third. Pull back down in that groove press and return to the floor. Awesome.
All right, let's continue with this. And now add no putting the bell down. It's a very interesting sentence. So it'll be a snatch up, pull down, through, back up to the snatch, okay? So from the floor to the overhead, pull it down to the rack, through, get your hinge, and then all the way back overhead. Nice. Slowly just starting to integrate and link those snatches together, but one step at a time. Take your time here. There's a couple things you'll be getting used to. You'll be getting used to that grip. You'll be getting used to not allowing that bell to slam on your arms. The right amount of hip drive.
The hip drive. The hip extension is the power. And again, that soft and supple hand is just enough to guide the kettlebell, but avoid pushing or pressing on the up. Excellent job, Lauren. 3 come around pretty quick for you, so powerful. So let's do it again. 3 continuous reps.
So pull, use the hips, punch through the bell at the top. The other thing is you're catching that bell already overhead. Okay, it might be that 11 that Ian said and it kind of carries you, but you're never trying to press the bell. If you're pressing the bell, you're not using your hips enough. So really try to drive that bell right to overhead.
A heavier kettlebell might cue that effort or urgency to use your hips, but don't be in a rush to get there. Take time and just bring that awareness that you're using your hip drive. A heavy bell is amazing, but be careful because heavy is heavy, but be powerful, and sometimes heavy bells might help cue the urgency.
Before we finish with our snatches today, let's revisit week 1. Let's do a set of week 1, which was clean, press, free throw down.
There you go.
Free throw. That's how good at basketball I was. About as good as I can say the word. So can you do your other hand so they can see it a little better?
I can indeed.
So it'll be a clean. Then a press. Don't put the bell down in between. Now it's a free throw through the legs and then back to a clean. Good. So we're just now going back to getting the down phase of our snatch. You can see that if Ian was in an alleyway, he's keeping that belt tight to his body as he lets it fall. Good. Again, we're letting gravity do the work and we're just guiding it from landing on our feet.
That's it.
And pulling our shoulder out.
Keeping that shoulder retracted, and again, making sure you can see your neck as to avoid our shrug on both that press and then again on that snatching landing overhead. So third and final rep for that Team Lauren there, a press and guiding that kettlebell down with just a super subtle flick of the wrist.
Snatches are one of those things you can't really slow down in real life, but feel free to take a slow-mo video. Whoops. And remember what you're doing.
I'm just excited to
It's
snatch.
first a clean.
Clean.
Then a press.
Clean.
And then that nice wrist flick, the elbow will stay high as it comes down, but that shoulder is retracted. Keep it nice and supported in the joint, not letting it come forward. Also a technical word.
Clunk, clunk.
Clunk,
Yes,
clunk,
we want to
clunk,
stay
clunk.
away from that. It might feel a little clunky as you get started.
Is that your second side?
That was my second side. I did my left hand first, weirdly, yes. So it might feel a little clunky, so we're just trying to smooth out those gaps in between. But again, be patient. We'll keep our reps fairly low at 3 of each, so you can stay fresh and aware of the form. That looks like a 3.
Whew.
And a shake. I think we should do that one more time.
We should. Tuesday, we gotta be even. Sorry, sneeze.
Gesundheit.
Okay, I'm back. Same routine. Clean press, unsnatch. The down of the snatch. Flick through. Good. Let's look at that elbow as he comes down. The elbow stays high, but it stays tight to the body. So here it's like undoing your jacket as you bring it down. Last week I put a mat up against, nice and tight to Ian, to show you how close he keeps it. Doing a drill like that where something's tight in front of you, make sure you don't care about the object in case you hit
Making
it.
sure it's not the Mona Lisa, or if it was, you would not touch it. So it's a clean and a press for that Team Lauren, and then that snatch down. Maybe we'll call this our half snatch with a press at the front end. 3 and 3, there we go, and return to the floor. One last time for that same drill here on the other side. What are you gonna focus on? I'm gonna focus on light grips and powerful finishes up
Light
top.
grips and strong hips. That could be same. Clean, press, and then nice control down. Good. We're controlling the belt down with the grip, but also the core, keeping it tight and guiding it back into that hinge position again. One of the things that probably gets most sore in you might not be your shoulders, might not be your core, but might actually be your hands. So get those hands used to the kettlebell rub.
And a good pumice goes a long way to help keep those calluses low. It's a clean and a press and a snatch down back to the rack. A press, a snatch down and return to the rack. Excellent power and quickness there, Lauren. And then our third and final return to the floor. Well,
We really need to do some reps. So
I'm in.
let's get some reps of some single arm swings. Why we're doing that also is because we too need to get that grip nice and ready and thick. You want to have some calluses, but also pumice them down just a little bit so they don't catch and rip. All that to say, we're going to do 5 rounds of single arm swings, 5 right, 5 left. I go, Ian goes. I go, Ian goes. You come with me or you go with Ian.
What bell would you like?
Excuse me. I'm going to use a fairly heavy bell for these swings, knowing that we're keeping them to 5 reps.
Me too.
No pressure. Use the bell that feels good for you. 5s today.
I go, you go. So pick a team. If you're tired listening to me, maybe go with me and then listen to Lauren as we cue your swings. We're going 5 swings, powerful through. It's that chest height, the core tension, off arm to keep you straight.
Oops, sorry.
Park it. Eventually a little bit more graceful. Then we're doing it again for
Park it
5.
with control. I've been taking my mic off for the dragon breath, but match that strong exhale to the hip drive through. Butts are squeezed to the top, abs are braced to the top, and arm ends up at that shoulder. Chest height.
Working on our endurance here with quick rests, but also working on that power. So stay powerful. Make sure that kettlebell is hitting the same landmark. Hopefully that chest height for you. If not, lower your reps or lower your load.
Same thing, Team Ian. In between, we're staying loose. Loose grip, loose legs, trying to breathe in and out the nose. As you swing, try also to breathe in and out that nose.
As you're recovering, it's slow breaths. Slow in and even slower out. And then with Lauren here, it's tying the exertion factor with that hip extension pop, or the kettlebell flying off of those hips. That's one round left and right. Sorry, go ahead, Lauren.
Remember the pick up and the put down of this bell or this drill is very important as well. Picking it up in the set position, but also being able to put it down quietly means you're in control. Team Lauren again.
That first set was the hardest. That one felt pretty darn good. That was my dominant hand again, making sure that we can go even reps with the dominant or non-dominant sides of your body. Firm grips and powerful hips.
Finishing off round 2 of 5 here for Team Ian. In through the nose. Nice strong exhale. Taking your time in between, loosen the grip. If you need to sit out a set or have a little extra break, please feel free. Keep it strong.
I don't know, there's been 5 of these, so just left that in there. That's okay. We'll rest when we need to. We'll take deep breaths to recover and big, powerful breaths throughout.
5 by 5. Breathe. Don't over grip that bell too. You obviously need a firm grip on your kettlebell because you don't want to launch it. But shoulder retracted. Hold it from here, not from here. You know what I mean?
It's clearly connected to your hand. As Lauren was saying there, it's that shoulder blade retract and a straight elbow next to load to your core. Load your core, not the arm. The hips and the core are doing the work.
As we get a little more technical here, you may even notice my re-grip at the top of my swing. So not every time, I try not to do it every time, but I do lightly kind of let go and re-grip to keep, again, that grip light.
Safe as well. Watch those toes. This is finishing our 3rd set. Middle set. It's a little bit easier from here on out because there's only 2 more sets. So take your breath in between. Maybe reposition your bell if you're out of your zone.
Get going. Number 4.
No more delay.
5 rounds here. In between sets, try to slow your breath down. Think about your breathing. Force the exhale. Big inhale.
There you go. Slowing down the breathing. Probably getting a little quieter here. As this will also be maybe the more stressful parts of your practice than it is for me.
This is set 3 of 4.
This is 2nd set, set 4.
Yeah, that's right. All right, finishing up round 4 of 5 here. Are your feet still rooted? Is your core still braced? Are you still matching that exhale with your breath, even though your breathings get a little more frequent? Off arm swinging with you, soft landings. Last round.
A comment we always get in the studio is there's a lot to think about. Yes, there is. But focus on one thing at a time. Whether that's your head and toes, your firm grips on the hand. One thing at a time, and some of those skills together.
One more round for Team Ian on this side. It's actually one more round for us right now. Yes. Here we go. Keep the hinge. Strong, straight arms. Shoulder packed. Match the exhale. Place it down. Last 5 swings.
5 on that one side. We have one more side for our team, so slow it down. Set that intention to be powerful until the end here. Shakes and wiggles can help too. And this is it. For us at least, they have to go more.
No, we don't. I started it.
Oh, darn it.
Let's try. Last set here. 5 swings on that second arm. As we recover, shake out the grip. Shake out the forearms. Let's close our mouth and open our nostrils. Nice big inhale and exhale. What's moving? Expand and contract versus elevating and descending. Get big here. Fill the cage, fill the diaphragm. Exhale.
Yesterday to breathe here.
Now, we're going to do something a little harder for a breathing drill. I want you to create your brace or your shield. It doesn't have to be big, but it's there. Now, can you inhale behind the shield and exhale and keep the shield? Do it again. Inhale around the shield. Exhale, keep the shield. 2 more times. Inhale, I could still punch you. Exhale, I could still punch you. 1 more time. It's like you're a Ninja Turtle and you have your half shell on and you're breathing underneath it. And then relax. Tricky.
That's not it for today, is it?
It's not it for today.
No. Lauren loves to finish her practice with one more get up each side.
I do.
So I have my bell out.
Whoa.
And whether it's barehanded or loaded for you, let's go one more set of our get up each side, and then enjoy the rest of your morning, day, or evening. For us, it'll be the evening. So pedal roll and turn it into a two-handed press. The breath though, it's always nice to pedal. Roll, the two-hand press. Drive the hip, tall sit, bridge, and sweep. Push the floor away, square up the lunge, and full body tension to stand. Pull yourself down, open and windmill. Sweep the leg, elbow. Last strong plank there on that side, and down.
Whew. Great. We have one last get up for today. I just love finishing our practice with those because it kind of just ties everything in, right? You have the bell overhead. You have to keep the core strength. You got to use your legs. So last get up of the day here. Feel it flow. Last one. Use the hip. It's not a crunch. Find the hand. Keep that under your shoulder as you press and sweep. The back toe again is already tucked. Both legs help you on the up. Controlling that descent. And last time through that windmill rotation, hinge, sweep, elbow, and to your back. Bell comes down with control. You stand up for the last time in this practice with no hands. Great workout today.
Even spirit fingers there, no hands.
Whoa. So that was week 2 on working on our snatches. Next week, we'll take these lessons and put it all together, the up and the down. So come back for more next week. In the meantime, you should check out our website and our Patreon page and learn some more.
And sign up for our newsletter delivered every other week with links to live classes, being this class on a Tuesday, our presses and plies class on a Thursday, and the play with our strength class on Saturday mornings.
As well as some blog posts in between.
You got it.
Until then, take care.
Stay strong.
And we'll train soon.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.